Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I, as always, am Grestar, and this is another reaction to a death battle, DIO versus Alucard. So of course, make sure to click on the link in the description below to go to the official release first. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Watch that there, then come back here and we'll watch it together. So I have not seen either of these anime, neither JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or Hellsing. I have no idea how powerful Hellsing is, like just as an anime universe, right? So I have no idea the relative power that Alucard would have to have in order to withstand, you know, just living in that universe. However, I know a little bit of what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has in terms of like power, right? And it's a lot from what I'm aware of. I mean, it's hard to say because it depends on the anime entirely or the source in general for what a lot really means. But the point is, I am entering this death battle with the bias that DIO is going to win, but I have nothing to support that because I don't know Alucard or Hellsing at all. It's just, I'm like, well, I think that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a powerful world, and from what little I know, DIO plays like a pretty big role in that, right? Maybe just kind of like forcing himself in as JoJo's like, nemesis. I don't know if it's like a shared thing. I feel like it's kind of one-sided. But either way, just if he's able to withstand that kind of role, he must be pretty powerful. But yeah, no idea what Alucard or Hellsing like bring to the table. So hopefully, hopefully I'll be able to take what I need from these analyses coming up and actually, you know, figure out the winner properly. But just wanted y'all to know that I do have that bias of DIO winning for whatever reason in my mind as I go into this. So with that, let's get to watching. So, time for a death battle, DIO versus Alucard. Take it away.
DIO Brando,
yes.
everlasting adversary of the Joestar bloodline.
Right.
Alucard, undying enforcer of the Hellsing organization.
Vampires.
Hellsing organization.
Nightmares.
See, I didn't know even that much.
Blackest pits of man's demented imagination.
Anime. Basically the same thing. What do you get when you combine them? Two of the meanest monsters out there. He's Wes and I'm Boomstick.
Hello.
And it's our job to analyze
Boomstick looks so happy there.
Skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Yeah. That's a more realistic pose
Imagine,
to me.
if you can, someone so wicked that the sheer magnitude of their unholy dickishness literally destroyed the universe.
Oh.
You might think they'd have to be no less than the devil himself, but it was him. DIO.
I know that meme.
Street rat with a cunning mind in the slums of Victorian London, DIO was humiliated by his poverty and abused by his alcoholic father.
I'm sorry,
His
DIO.
bitter resentment and small dick energy would lead to a lifelong desire for ultimate power and immortality to reach a place over heaven.
And he'd get his chance to act when he was adopted into the wealthy Joestar family.
Oh, he was
DIO
adopted.
planned to kill his new father, George Joestar, and take his fortune for himself. Only one thing stood in his way: his new brother, Jonathan Joestar, aka Jojo.
DIO
But they're
tried
all
to go
JoJo.
Alpha Wolf on JoJo by engaging in such classic sibling pranks as
Even if they're like
beating him up,
JoJo.
molesting his girlfriend, and setting his dog on fire.
Oh.
Jesus! You give that creepy dog murderer what for, JoJo?
But after years
DIO,
of
that's so
emotional
mean.
manipulation, DIO's twisted assassination plot was foiled by his righteous stepbrother.
With help from the interfering Speedwagon, all seemed lost until DIO pulled out his Plan B, an ancient stone mask that turned him into
Also,
a
is it
vampire.
a stepbrother if you're
That's
adopted?
Just bizarre.
I thought it's just
so he's
adopted
not
brother.
technically a vampire like, say, Dracula. Instead of turning you into an unholy demon, the stone mask eliminates your body's natural limitations.
Oh.
Making him way stronger, faster, and tougher than any human. He can hear a heartbeat through the ground, fly through the air, and hypnotize you with just a glance.
Hypnosis, cool.
DIO can create mind-controlling flesh buds from his hair follicles, vaporize the moisture in his body to freeze anything he touches, and fire beams of pressurized fluids that can split the sky.
Pressurized
What
fluids.
do you mean by the sky?
Oh, sometimes it's too easy.
Do you mean like move
Even
clouds?
more insane is DIO's
Or-
healing factor. He's been burnt alive, impaled through the head, bisected, decapitated, lost limbs, filled with bullets, and had a huge hole punched in his chest not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Another similar vampire,
Okay.
Straight, survived being blown to pieces and just pulled himself back together.
All Dio needs is some blood to speed up the process, so he is basically a vampire.
To
So I
speed
guess
up the
fangs
process
are
or
just
to make it
decoration
possible?
Because he sucks blood through his
Because those are
fingers.
very different. Oh, what? Yeah.
Dio used his powers to raise a zombie army to conquer the world and feed a baby to its own mother.
Yeah.
Just for kicks.
We've had a lot of real pieces of shit on this show, Wiz, but I'm starting to think Dio takes the cake. Luckily, his
Like,
plans
I
were
thought
foiled
Dio was
again
more
by
of
his
like
old
a
frenemy
loser
Jojo, who
prankster
beat
sort of
Dio's
villain,
ass
not
with a
like
martial art that uses
as
the power
evil
of the sun.
as he's shown
Come
here.
on.
Because, should Dio's vampire body be subjected to sunlight, he will instantly disintegrate.
So, what did Dio do? Well, he cut off his own head, killed Jonathan on his wedding night, and attached his head to Jojo's body. Wow.
What?
Cake taken, for sure.
Oh.
After a brief century in a coffin at the bottom of the ocean, Dio resurfaced in Egypt and tried once again to take over the world. His ultimate goal was to create a world where everyone knew their own fate and could make peace with the inevitable tragedies life had in store.
Well, so just
in Dio's mind, heaven.
And he'd make it happen, no matter how many
I don't want to
breads
interrupt,
he'd
but I'm
have to
curious.
eat.
After being struck by a mystical arrow, sure, why not?
Okay.
Dio gained a stand, the embodiment of a user's life force.
Oh.
Since they're made of psychic energy, stands
Yeah.
can only be seen by stand users
Right.
and can only be hurt by other stands. Quite the obstacle for any opponent lacking similar abilities.
boomstick to.
Hey, look, Wiz, I got a stand. I call it 99 bottles. Oh, shit. Don't worry, Wiz.
So
I'll change
the
you back with
cool
your
thing
transmo-
is that I think this means
transmog-
I'm psychic,
trans-
because I'm seeing that right now.
Ooh, look, a giant beard.
What I was gonna say though was like, since Dio put his head on Jojo's body, is he
As
still
the fifth
vampiric?
god
Does he still
among
have that
men, Dio
limitlessness?
received one of the most powerful stands in history, the world, with its ability to stop time.
I didn't realize actually that that was Dio,
Ow!
because I'm also
Well,
aware
not
of,
only
you know,
does his time
Zawarudo.
stop
But...
get longer with each use, he can spam it as much as he likes. He's a massive troll.
The world is absurdly strong and fast, able to match the stand's Star Platinum, which belongs to Jonathan's great-great-grandson, Jotaro Kujo. He technically inherited it from Dio through Jonathan's body and bloodline, making Star Platinum and the world the same stand.
And both are two of
What?
the strongest stands out there, just as strong as Stone Free, which can punch meteors that were pulled to Earth in seconds.
By measuring the distance the meteors are from Earth, we
Uh-huh.
can estimate they were moving at over 11 million meters per second.
That's pretty
Factoring
fast.
in their mass, they'd each have a kinetic energy of 441 kilotons of TNT.
Sure, yeah.
Not that crazy when you can throw punches that are faster than light. No, really, Star Platinum kept up with this stand, Silver Chariot, which could cut a beam of light.
Looking at the interval Silver Chariot's sword swung relative to the light beam,
Uh-huh.
it must have moved over 1,500 times the speed of light.
That is quite
and
fast.
Dio himself has matched Star Platinum on his own and taken its punches head on.
Yeah, but that's nothing compared to Dio's secret weapon, the greatest weapon in anime history.
What?
Steamroller! Turns out Dio's a hell of a chef. He can make pancakes and donuts.
Wow.
Even so, despite having a massive god complex, Dio's still a careful tactician capable of exploiting an opponent's weaknesses.
Too bad he wasn't prepared for Jotaro to learn how to stop time too and murder the shit out of him. That's some hardcore karma right there. But it only makes sense that a dog murderer would die like a bitch.
But
Yeah.
much like the machinations of
What you
great
get?
and terrible men, Dio's will was immortal. In time, his greatest follower succeeded in extinguishing the Joestar bloodline and literally remaking the universe in Dio's image,
What?
creating that heaven he always dreamed of.
I guess
And so
when
did
you're named
JoJo's
after a
Bizarre
rock
Adventure
star,
end?
Movie star, and oh, that's right, God. You're pretty much bound for greatness.
You thought your first kiss would be JoJo, but it was I, Dio!
That's the scene it comes from? It's about a
How
kiss?
blessed are
I
some
had no
people
idea.
whose lives have no fears, no dreads. For though the world seems full of good men, there are monsters in it.
But don't worry,
Always.
jolly old England has it covered with the Helsing organization.
Founded by famous vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing and led by his descendant Integra, this secret government institution has saved the world time and again.
Well,
with
thank
their
you.
secret weapon.
Appreciate it.
And what better weapon to hunt vampires than with one of their very own, the no-life king, the Bird of Hermes. Alucard.
Yay!
His origin was shrouded in mystery, but under Helsing's employ, he was molded into an elite hunter, made even more vicious by his intense hatred of his fellow vampire kind.
Why does he hate
Hatred
vampires?
that he expresses with 2 of the gnarliest handguns you'll ever pray to your infinite god to never see in person.
Alucard's primary sidearm is the Castle, a behemoth of a handgun able to kill most undead in one shot with holy bullets that can nullify a vampire's healing factor.
Nice.
The Jackal is the handgun she told you not to worry about. 16 inches long and weighing 35 pounds. It's armor-piercing, hollow-point bullets.
Does it
jagged-edged
nullify
blessed Macedonian silver
a vampire's
were
healing
built to
factor?
annihilate the
Or
toughest
do the
monster.
bullets
And
themselves
after
just
decades
ignore
of
it?
clandestine experimentation, Helsing enhanced Alucard's vampiric abilities far beyond the norm.
Alucard can walk through walls, cast illusions, levitate, and move objects with his mind. Objects like, say, an ocean of over 3 million people's blood?
It's a
That's
lot.
an energy worth half a ton of TNT.
His psychic prowess allows him to read minds, communicate telepathically, hypnotize with a glance, and see through hallucinations with his third eye.
He's not a Triclops. It's more of a sixth sense that lets him hit bullseyes from a kilometer away and even predict your movements.
Okay.
Kinda like the Sharon gun.
Of course, he wouldn't be a real vampire if he couldn't drink blood. The catch is,
Fair.
when he drinks enough blood to kill you, he literally absorbs your soul.
Oh.
That right there is the source of his most fearsome ability.
You just can't kill the sumbitch. Shoot him into Swiss cheese, blow his ass to smithereens, turn him into a literal blood puddle, he'll just regenerate his body lickety-split. Like, we've seen some overpowered healing factors on this show before, but Alucard's is just bullshit.
While he does possess blood and organs like a regular human, Alucard's
Right.
body is in reality composed of an ethereal shadow-like substance that he can morph any way he wants.
Ah.
This allows him to shapeshift and instantly heal any wound. And each soul Alucard has consumed acts as an extra life that he can spend whenever he's fatally injured. Kind of like a video game.
So he can be
And
fatally
after
injured.
500 years of unlife, Alucard has consumed literally millions of souls. Ora! Yay, more beer!
Why?
Just like me.
Ora!
Oh. Fair.
Helsing
Okay.
needed a beast as
Little
fearsome
concerning,
as
but all right,
Alucard
Wiz.
to take on Millennium, aka Nazi vampires. That's like evil squared.
Like when Millennium SS Lieutenant Rip Van Winkle commandeered a British aircraft carrier as part of an invasion of London.
Alucard didn't like that very much, so he jackknifed it with an SR-71 Blackbird at Mach 3.
A fully loaded Blackbird weighs 170,000 pounds, meaning it's struck with a kinetic energy of 11 tons of TNT. That's as powerful as the US Massive Ordnance Air Blast.
Okay.
AKA the mother of all bombs. And Al was in the middle of that and strolled out like it was nothing.
Oh my.
Just as impressive as intercepting Rip's magic bullets. Comparing the distance one bullet moved to the jet in the same time frame as the jet's own movement, each bullet would have to be moving at 1,500 times the speed of sound.
And Alucard caught one with his friggin' teeth. And after giving Rip's name a new meaning, he drove that aircraft carrier back to shore with his mind to fight 2 separate armies at the
That's
same time.
pretty cool
A
use of
goddamn
telekinesis.
monster.
It goes without saying that Alucard's immense power and bloodlust needed to be controlled, so 6 restriction levels were placed on him that he can release against dangerous opponents.
Okay.
Levels 6 through 2 are for wrecking your ordinary ghouls.
Right,
Level
oh, sure.
1 is for your heavy-duty vampires, and for getting this gnarly demon doggo made from his shadow essence, Baskerville.
There
Oh,
exists an
nice.
even
The Hound of
greater state
Baskerville.
power Alucard can release when he wants to end the world. Level 0.
Oh.
Once activated, Level 0 releases every single soul Alucard has consumed as a sea of blood-soaked zombies. All 3 million of them.
Sure, with his souls gone, he can't heal as easily, and if his heart is destroyed, he'll die permanently.
Ah.
But the sheer numbers and power of this army from hell makes him virtually impossible to approach in the first place.
He's unstoppable. This guy's got to be like the king of all vampires.
Indeed, he is.
Ah.
Helsing purposely kept Alucard's true identity a secret, all in the codename. Alucard backwards is
Dracula? Yeah, duh, Wiz.
That was their
Idiot.
secret?
over 500 years ago. The Wallachian voivode Vlad Dracula battled the Ottoman Turks for control over Eastern Europe.
Of course,
and
yes, we all remember.
impaled thousands of people in the process.
Vlad the Impaler, yes.
Hence his historical name, Vlad the Impaler.
But things didn't end up too good for him. Right before his execution, he took a big old sip of some blood from the battlefield, sacrificing his humanity in order to become an immortal creature of the night.
Oh.
And that is when the legend was born. But it wasn't anything Dracula was proud of. He grew to despise his monstrous nature and saw it as cowardice. The main reason he hated other vampires so much was that he really hated himself.
Aww.
Oh, that's deep, Wiz.
Projection.
Maybe that's why he always lets his enemies rip into him like a piñata of self-loathing. His crazy OP healing factor will fix everything anyways.
Millennium would exploit this arrogance by tricking Alucard into absorbing the soul and abilities of Schrödinger, a German cat boy who controls his own quantum state. This
Okay, yeah.
grants him pseudo-omnipresence and immortality.
Huh,
He can
you know,
exist
that was
everywhere and
basically a
nowhere,
character idea
and
I had.
cannot die so long as
The whole
he can
Schrödinger thing.
recognize his own existence.
But because Al had 3 million souls kicking around inside him, Schrödi couldn't recognize himself anymore, forcing him, and thus Alucard, to fade out of existence.
So Alucard spent 30 years killing the other 3 million souls inside of him until he could return to reality and his master. He undid his own unexistence.
No matter
It's
how
so
stupid the
confusing.
threat, Alucard will show no mercy. He's just waiting for the day he meets a noble human warrior strong enough to end his unlife for good.
But should he face a fellow monster, a fool who rejected their humanity like himself, he'll let loose the dogs of war, and all hell will sing.
Right.
I'm a dog. Then you're dog food.
Oh no! Wow, that person didn't survive, did
All
they?
right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's
It's
time for a death battle! And pause. Okay, so I still think Dio's going to win. Alucard was quite impressive in many regards, but I feel like he fell short in many regards too. The two biggest things I think going for Alucard are his healing factor and I mean, I was gonna say his speed, but no, not really. Actually, I think I was gonna say his speed. I feel like I had a solid second thing. Main thing is his healing factor, but the issue is that Dio seems to have a comparable healing factor. Dio seems to have way higher speeds, and along with the speeds, he seems to have higher like damage, like strength, power, I guess, you know, and durability. Because they mentioned like, you know, Alucard caught the bullet that was moving super fast in his teeth. It was moving like 1,500 times the speed of sound. But like Dio was fighting things that were moving like 1,500 times the speed of light, if I remember correctly. I believe he also got punched by one of those, like something, you know, a stand moving that fast, if I understood correctly. And that would be a lot more force than, you know, like the whatever TNT that Alucard was, you know, delivering. So even when you pull out like all the stops and you have Alucard like, you know, using his sea of blood of 3 million souls or whatever, or even like, I feel like that would put him at a disadvantage, because at that point you just have to destroy Alucard's heart, and without all the souls he'd be dead. And considering that Dio seems to be incredibly fast and powerful, and considering that he can literally stop time for 11 seconds at a time, which is kind of weird that when you stop time, 11 seconds still counts. Like, how does... So time still exists, just not... Anyway. But then, like, not even is it just 11 seconds, it's 11 seconds for that one instance, and then presumably he could just do it again, you know? So when you can stop time, and you're that fast and that powerful... Like, I don't really know what Alucard could do. I mean, even without that, I'm not sure what Alucard would be able to do to Dio that Dio hasn't withstood, like, time and time again before. So, here, I'll say, I think this is actually, it kind of went with the healing factor, but I'll say another thing that Alucard really has going for him is that whole 3 million soul thing, where if he were to take a fatal blow, he just absorbs one of the souls that he already has, and then, like, bam, he's good to go again. But it still seems to me like Dio would be able to do it. They both have hypnosis, which I assume would just kind of like cancel each other out. But there was also, Dio had like something with his hair follicles dealing with hypnosis, right? Like, I don't know if that would give him like a slight edge in that department. But either way, I don't think that Alucard's hypnosis is going to be like a trump card or anything. Just because like Dio has something to match it. Like Alucard's telekinesis, his telekinetic feats, I just don't think it would really do him any good when, again, you have Dio's speed, durability, and strength of his own. you have Alucard's bullets, which they said nullified a vampire's healing capabilities, but one, I don't think that, like, I mean, Dio should be able to dodge those, because the fastest they gave is, again, like the 1500 times the speed of sound, and presumably Dio was fighting things like 1500 times the speed of light. And so the bullets, I don't even think he would have to worry about those, just considering he could avoid them. But even if he did, I don't know if it actually would nullify a healing factor, or if the bullet itself, again, would just ignore the healing factor and pierce him anyway and still do that damage. I don't understand how that works exactly, but I just think that Dio has gone through a lot. There was also the thing about how, like, only stand users could see other stands, but the reason they gave for that is that it's a psychic being, and, like, Alucard clearly has psychic powers with his, like, telekinesis and telepathy, and so I'm assuming that he'd be able to see the stand, but whether he could see it or not, I just think that Dio has too much, you know? He just seems more like, as powerful as Alucard is, because he is definitely powerful, I just think that Dio seems more so. So, Dio is going to win this one, and play. Are you expecting him? Why would you do that? That was so rude. Wait, what?
Interrupted my
Oh, that stance. What the heck?
I was just thinking about having mine.
Then by all means, take a bite.
Oh! How many times are we gonna see things like that this fight, right?
Checkmate.
It wasn't even dodging. Alucard was just missing his shots there.
So very weak, dog. You thought you'd triumph, but it was I. Dio?
Oh no, the dog!
If I'm a dog, your dog poop.
He didn't call you a dog there, Alucard. The line doesn't work as well that way. I don't know if it really works to punch the vehicle rather than him.
I'm gonna enjoy hearing you scream.
Oh. Is this just a blood ocean, or were those the... Oh, it's the souls. It's the zombies. I did like seeing them both fight, like him in the stand there. That was cool.
A real fucking vampire.
That's the whole effect. Come on, Dio, you got this! You dog murdering bastard.
You want blood, you disgusting monster? Choke on your own.
Oh.
I want to rule the world!
I'm not even sure what he's doing at this point.
Face me, Vampire King! Bow to your new god!
The bird of Hermes is my name. Eating my wings to make me tame.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Useless, useless, useless.
Wait, was he saying Muda, but his stand was the one punching? Is that how it normally goes? What does Muda mean? Does it mean anything?
All the stops, but like the bloody drink, it was in vain.
Nice.
Guns.
I got.
He may have been the king of the vampires in Helsing, but Dio had everything he needed to clip the bird of Hermes' wings.
Alucard's strategy in most fights is to heal from an opponent's attacks until they get tired, then take advantage of an opening. But he couldn't do that here because Dio didn't really have any openings. And Alucard wasn't nearly as strong or as fast to compensate.
Alucard could survive crashing that jet and move 1,500 times faster than sound. But scaling from Stone Free and Silver Chariot, the world could punch relativistic meteors and move 1,500 times faster than light.
Yeah.
That would make Dio nearly 40,000 times stronger and 800,000 times faster than Alucard.
Yep.
Well, Alucard couldn't even see or hurt the world in the first place.
Oh, so he couldn't see.
He's not
Okay.
a stand user. And since stone mask vampires from JoJo aren't weak to holy weapons like Helsing vampires are, Al's guns were more or less dead weight.
Plus, Alucard just had no way to get past the time stop. Even if he did somehow, Dio could just freeze him on contact.
And considering Dio has taken punches from Star Platinum, Hal would have had trouble doing damage even if he got the chance.
Yep.
Dio's far greater speed and power meant that, given enough time, he could realistically kill Alucard 3 million times.
So all the
in
souls
quick
wouldn't even
succession.
matter, exactly.
Without any viable options for attack or openings to exploit, Alucard's soul-based regeneration meant he would run out of lives eventually, and level 0 only sped up that process.
Exactly. Yes.
Nothing to scoff at, but consider the time Dio's eye beams split those huge-ass clouds.
Estimating the size of the clouds and the speed at which they moved, Dio's beams must have output an energy of over 10 megatons of TNT, enough to wipe out Alucard's army in one go, leaving him vulnerable.
Yeah, that was
Just like
another
when
thing
his
I
other
wondered about,
vampire,
actually.
Walter could have killed him by piercing his heart. Alucard's even admitted it himself.
Just
Well,
like you have that
Alucard's
army of
is filled
zombies.
with blood. You know, that
But,
thing
like,
that Dio
how
uses to heal?
durable are they?
What about Schrodinger? With his powers, Al can't die unless he chooses to.
While Schrodinger's quantum immortality makes him impossible to kill normally, it is literally part of the story that Alucard cannot have Schrodinger's abilities and his greater array of powers at the same time, or else he'll no longer exist. We can't give him both Schrodinger and his standard powers without breaking the lore and rules of the character.
Interesting.
Even if we did, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't help him kill Dio at all, so at best it'd be a stalemate. Until Dio hypnotizes Alucard, asks him about his powers, and forces him to eject Schrody like the rest of his souls.
Huh.
Shocking though it may be, Dio's overwhelming offense, impenetrable defense, and uniquely
Sorry,
devastating
shocking?
abilities wore Alucard down until the No-Life King had no life
Didn't seem
left.
so to me.
Alucard got Dio-owned.
Nice.
Boomstick, you tell the worst puns in the world.
That's right.
The
and
world.
You're just gonna have to Dio with it. And hey, wait a minute, that was a pun. That's my territory.
The winner is Dio.
Jeez, okay, I'm sorry. Claps for Dio the World.
Thank you guys so much for watching the show. We really hope you enjoyed that episode of Death Battle.
You're welcome,
If you're
and
looking
thank
for
you.
something else to watch right now, just click the box on the screen and check out Red vs. Blue Family Shatters, where the
Yeah,
Red
you
vs.
could
Blue Zero crew
go to
gets
Rooster
up to all
Teeth and
sorts
do
of
that if you
wacky
wanted.
antics. It's really fun. A lot of people who worked on Death Battle also worked on this show, so give it a watch. Thanks.
And next time, yes, next time on Death Battle, we have... Oh, Akuma versus Shao Kahn. Okay, I mean, like, we've seen Akuma in a death battle before, right? Have we seen Shao Kahn? I don't remember, actually. I'm inclined to say... Like, I'm familiar with his name, but I don't remember if he's come up in death battle as a death battle combatant, or if it's just because he's in the backstory of so many different people. But anyway, next time, Akuma versus Shao Kahn. Okay, sounds good. But as for this one, I was right, yay me! Yeah, I mean... I was, again, trying to keep in mind my bias when I entered this one of, like, I think Dio's going to win, even though I have no idea what Alucard is capable of or what Helsing is all about, just because I had some vague idea of the power level of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But I didn't even know that it was that crazy. Or that he, you know, Dio himself was that crazy. So once you get that information about just all of his feats, you know, once you've seen the kinds of things that he's done and the kinds of things that he's withstood or that he's come back from, like, you know, if you're decapitating yourself on purpose to enact some crazy scheme, like, you've got to have some big regenerative abilities and whatnot. And so like, yeah, Alucard was, you know, really surprising in his own right? Like, with really the big thing being his own regenerative abilities and just that near, like, immortality with the 3 million souls. But then, yeah, it's just like, I don't know how he could kill Dio. And so I'm really glad that the conclusion backed me up on that. Made me feel pretty good. I will say that I had not considered Schrodinger at all when I was thinking, like, during my prediction. But I still, like, it's like they mentioned, even if that were to have happened, worst case scenario is it's a stalemate, because he still couldn't do anything to Dio in that regard. And another thing that I didn't know was that his kind of vampire, Dio's, like, they weren't affected by holy weapons any more than regular weapons. And so that throughout the question of, like, do the bullets actually nullify his regeneration, or is it just the bullets themselves would ignore the regeneration? Which, just in case, like, my thinking of that was, if you're shot by a bullet, do you just not have regenerative powers from that point on? Or if you're shot by a bullet, does just, like, that bullet wound remain, but other things you'd still heal from? Like, that was my distinction. But either way, like, he's just fast enough that wouldn't even have to matter. So yeah, no, I don't have any complaints as far as, like, the analyses or conclusion are concerned, because, you know, I agree. Like, it just makes sense to me. And I appreciate with the conclusion that they did bring up things like, you know, what about Schrodinger? Well, it couldn't exist within the lore simultaneously with his other powers. But even if it did, JoJo's hypnosis could stop that. And like I'd mentioned that they both have hypnosis, and so I wasn't really considering them, you know, like that power at that point. But if Alucard had Schrodinger's power instead, that would mean he wouldn't have his own hypnosis, and so then Dio's hypnosis would be, you know, advantageous over that. So that was really interesting. When thinking about stuff in the prediction, I also wasn't thinking about, like, the freezing that Dio was able to do, just because it didn't really seem all that relevant, you know? Like, it didn't seem like Dio would need that to be able to push him into a victory. So yeah, point is, no complaints about that. Very satisfied with just how they delivered everything, how they clarified things in the conclusion, and of course, I'm happy and proud of myself for being able to pick up on that stuff as well. Because it would have been really awkward, given how one-sided this fight seemed by the end, to have not picked up on that. And if you didn't, if you yourself, like, still believe that Alucard would win, like, you know, fine. I'm curious why, but, you know, still, whatever. As far as the animation is concerned, I also enjoyed that. Like, it looked good. I liked the way that they played with the space. Overall, it seemed to have good pacing. The biggest, like, not issue with pacing, but the spot that I was, like, most surprised by was when Alucard opened, like, that 0th gate or whatever, which just makes me think of, like, Rock Lee or Mike Guy, you know? But when he opened the 0th gate and, like, let the flood of the souls out, because it struck me as a little early, but I guess they were building toward the climax at that point. I guess I personally was just expecting the fight to go on a little bit longer, so that caught me by surprise, but, you know, that's on me for the most part. But I liked the change in, like, the animation styles that was used, or the changes that were used over the course of the animation, from the 2D sprites to the, you know, just regular, like, 2D traditional kind of animation, with the characters, like, the close-ups on their faces or whatnot. Those were good. The lip sync also, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I appreciated that. And I appreciated, like, bringing back the characters' like, iconic lines. Even though I thought that Alucard's dog one was a little awkward just because I don't remember Dio calling him a dog. Maybe he did. I don't know. It would have been fitting enough considering Dio has that dog in the backstory. Curse him for that. But yeah, my favorite, I just have to say my favorite scene from that battle was definitely when you have Dio and the world, like, fighting the zombies kind of back to back. I thought that was just really cool. Like, it just looked really nice. So I appreciated that for sure. As for next time, yeah, we have Akuma versus Shao Kahn. don't really know that much about the two characters. I very well might have at one point in time, but as soon as I finish watching a death battle, I just kind of like dump out all the information I gained, so that next time if they appear, it'll be blind again. That's the reason that I do it. It's for you. It's not my own limitations. No. So I hope you enjoyed this death battle. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. You know, whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what you thought about this or that, etc., so on and so forth. And next time, yes, Akuma versus Shao Kahn. So I hope you're looking forward to that. But yeah, with that, we're calling it here. So have a good one, everybody.